Hello, and welcome to our presentation on the danger of debt. What is debt? Debt is that four-letter word that keeps you from enjoying life to its fullest. If you're not careful, debt will hold you back much like a heavy ball and chain. Debt is the inability to pay our bills in full at the end of each month. We have debt when we purchase a new car, new home, new furniture, and or when we use credit cards. Yes, many of us plan to make those monthly payments, and sometimes we do. But in time, those monthly payments require all of our paycheck. So we work overtime to have some extra spending money and pay a little extra on a bill or two. But it is just not enough. Now, despite what those brainiacs tell you on the internet, radio, or talk shows, the only good debt is no debt. They will tell you good debt is taking out a mortgage loan for a house or federal or even private student loans to fund your college education. But make no mistake about it, debt is still debt. So whether you believe it or not, being in debt has consequences. Finances are the number one cause for divorce in America today. If you are married or in a relationship, just take time to stop and think. How many times have you fought over bills or over not having money to purchase something one of you has wanted? Debt also causes undue stress, which can quickly escalate into many physical as well as mental health problems. Debt is very destructive. It destroys many things. Debt can destroy your dreams. Do you have big dreams? Unfortunately, debt can destroy those dreams. Debt has a way of taking away our dreams. The more debt we incur, the less free money we have to follow our dreams. Did you know that more than 40% of American families spend more than they earn? Did you know that? While borrowing may have helped you attain some intermediate goals, your debt can keep you from achieving other important milestones in your life. Ask yourself this question. Is debt and financial stress destroying my dreams? You see, because debt even destroys nations. The U.S. debt is one of the largest in the world. We owe over $12 trillion, and it's growing by the minute, by the second. You may be saying, so what? I have my own problems. Why should I care about the national debt? Well, the national debt has a devastating ripple effect on the economy. For example, a weaker dollar. When the government gets frantic to pay off its national debt, it tends to allow the value of the dollar to plummet so it can repay its debt in cheaper dollars. Now, this is bad news for consumers, as a weaker dollar commonly results in rampant inflation. The national debt isn't just the government's problem. When the government goes into the red, they use your money, taxpayers' money, to handle the mounting costs which are already prohibitive. Currently, the U.S. government spends $452 billion annually on debit interest payments alone. And that money came or will soon come directly out of your pocket. The magnitude of the national debt has very real and very powerful effects on the American personal finances. Let's look at how the national debt could impact you as an individual. About higher taxes. The government simply cannot sustain the current disparity between how much it is spending and how much it's taking in with tax revenue. In other words, to avoid going completely broke, the government will have no choice but to raise taxes or drastically reduce spending. If past performance is any indication, the former is far more likely, which means we could potentially be paying higher taxes for a long, long time here in the very near future. How about reduction in benefits and programs? If the government decides to attack the national debt by curtailing spending, government benefits such as Social Security may be reduced significantly. Programs will also be cut, which could affect anything from federal student financial aid to Medicare. Oh, and how about this one? Higher interest rates. Rising national debt will eventually result in a reluctance of investors and foreign governments to purchase our treasury bonds, thereby forcing interest rates to rise. Now, what this means is that you will pay more for your auto loan, home loan, credit cards, and all other lending products. So here's the bottom line. The large federal debt is having a slowing effect on the economy. But even more disturbing about destructive debt is how debt can destroy futures. This little guy already owes over $40,000 because of the U.S. national debt. What a way to start off your life. Already in the hole, owing the nation. You see, I can see why this little guy is not so happy. You only need to read today's headlines. We must face the undeniable facts, and they are quite disturbing. Did you know jobs are getting more and more scarce now due to the migration of domestic jobs to overseas countries for cheaper labor and material costs? Or due to the economic slowdown? Did you know the U.S. employment rate is currently 9.8%? Nearly 8.5 million jobs have been lost so far, and there are now 14.8 million unemployed Americans who have been jobless for an average of 30 weeks, an all-time high. I think Albert Einstein said it best. We cannot solve problems using the same kind of thinking we used when we created them. Bankruptcy used to be a term that most people wanted to avoid at all costs. Who files for bankruptcy now? Well-educated middle-class baby boomers with big-time credit card debt. This might surprise you, then again it may not. But people under the age of 25 make up the fastest growing age group for filing for bankruptcy. Unbelievable. Now I just covered how the national debt can affect you. Now let's talk about the impact of your own debt. If you've ever applied for a credit card, a loan to buy a house or car, or a line of credit to make some other large purchase, then you probably had your credit report reviewed by the lender. If your report says you don't pay your bills on time or that you have a lot of debt, you may not get that loan. Or you may get it, but have to pay a higher interest rate. You see, a credit report is an accumulation of information about how you pay your bills and repay loans, how much credit you have available, what your monthly debts are, and other types of information that can help a potential lender decide whether you are a great credit risk or a very, very bad credit risk. Your credit scores help in classifying you as creditworthy or otherwise. It's designed to help those lenders determine how likely you are to pay back your loan. If you have excellent credit, then you will likely be eligible to receive the lender's most favorable rates. In fact, you're in a great position to shop around and demand the best possible conditions. With good credit, you may no longer be approved for the lender's best rate, but you should still have little difficulty finding a good loan. With below average credit score, your options will be reduced, and you'll pay a premium on your loan, perhaps as much as 2% more than borrowers with excellent credit. You may need to provide more documentation than those with higher scores, including a formal appraisal if you have a home. A credit score under 620 puts you in the category of a subprime borrower. Borrowing more than you can afford or not managing your debts properly can quickly lead to debt management issues that will only lead to more debt and make it that much harder to pay off. Just by eliminating the debt, someone can potentially raise their credit score from the low 600s to the low 800s. Though the cost might be occurring now, the repayment of debt will stay with you for years. Many people taking out loans or using credit cards don't consider the long-term effects of using this credit. But did you know that these debts become part of your credit report, which affects your entire financial well-being? Did you know that it could affect your interest rates on your car or on your home? Even your insurance rates? As a general rule, a higher score will entitle you to better loan terms and a longer, lower interest rate. Credit scores and reports are actually used for many other reasons. Your credit scores can affect your ability to get a good rate on common necessities such as a cell phone and rental agreements. It can even affect your employment. About 35% of the companies surveyed by the Society for Human Resource Management pulled their credit reports of current or potential employees last year. I hope now you can begin to see how dangerous and harmful debt can be. I'm sure you would like for me to leave you information on how to get out of debt, right? Well, all you have to do is take this debt relief pill and all your troubles will vanish by morning. Don't you wish it were that easy? Don't we all wish it were that easy? Well, here are some things you can do. You can earn more money. Just go out and get a second job. You can also consolidate your loans and make much larger payments. Or you can put yourself on a strict budget. Now, this is what the financial experts say and what I consider the old way of doing business. Besides, you have probably heard all these solutions before, but there is a problem with these, isn't there? If they were that simple to do, more people would be doing them and our debt problems would rapidly disappear, right? I mean, it's real easy for someone else to tell you to go out and get another job. But look at the job market today. Remember, unemployment is at its highest in years. And sure, you might be able to get a bank to consolidate your loans. And even if you are able to get a lower payment on your loans, don't be fooled. It's not the interest rate or the payment you should be concerned about. It's the term and the loan balance and those never-ending interest payments. Yes, you can try to budget, but with life's uncertainties, you never know when your car, for example, will go kaput on you because it needs a new transmission. Was that planned in your budget? Folks, I want to extend an invitation to each and every one of you listening and viewing this presentation to go to www.mortgagesarefordummies.com. Register for our next live webinar presentation. During this live event, we will reveal to you a little-known revolutionary program that has helped thousands of people suffering from debt. For most of us, our mortgage is our largest debt. However, we want to emphasize that the program we are going to introduce to you is for anyone that has debt, whether you have a mortgage or not. So if you're tired of living in debt and being broke and ready to move from the negative to the positive, this webinar is an event that you don't want to miss. Now please share this presentation with those you feel could benefit from the information that was provided to you today. Thank you, and we'll see you on the next webinar.